In previous lecture, we have learned with the plastocyanin and pheophylline. So now, immersion effect and red drop. One MCQ is belonging to this. The immersion effect and red drop was experimented on chlorella. Fine. When 700 nanometer or greater than 680 nanometer wavelength of light, that is monochromatic light, is emitted on plant photosynthetic rate decreases. This is known as red drop. So when you apply monochromatic beam of the 700 nanometer wavelength of light or greater than 680 nanometer wavelength of light on the plant, the photosynthetic rate is decreases, or you say that it is low. But when 700 nanometer and 680 nanometer combination is given, photosynthesis here increases. This is known as immersion enhancement effect. So red drop means nothing but when you constantly apply the 700 nanometer wavelength of light, so photosynthesis rate decreases. Fine. And this is known as red drop. Now photophosphorylation. Here, two photophosphorylations are there, cyclic and non-cyclic. As you understand it properly, cyclic in them only PS1 x pi. Whereas in non-cyclic, both PS1 and PS2 take pi. So cyclic photophosphorylation, you know that PS2 is not used. So we say that no photolysis of water. Here photolysis of water occurs. Here no evol of O2. Here it is there. Fine. Here no reduction of NADP. Here it is there. So last product is only 2 ADPs, whereas here non-cyclic in that products are 1 ATP and 2 NADPH2. Cyclic photophosphorylation, no other name, fine. Whereas non-cyclic photophosphorylation, Z scheme is there. And also known as this reaction. Okay, the most important MCQ. Very important. The number of quanta or the number of photons required to release the 1 mole of oxygen or to evolve the 1 mole of oxygen in the photosynthesis process. So answer is A. It is very important MCQ. Only you accept this theory, fine. oxygen molecule evolved by one quantum of light. So the number of quanta, see here to release the one molecule of oxygen, we require here 8 photons. So here with the help of the one photon only, see what is the difference between quantum base and quantum yield. So to release the one molecule of the oxygen from the plants during the photosynthesis process, we require 8 photons there. But what is quantum yield? With the help of the one quantum only, so with the help of the one photon, how many oxygen molecules are required? So the efficiency of the plant to release the one molecule of the oxygen, or the number of the molecule of oxygen evolved by using the one photon only. That's why here I have put 1 upon 8. So 8 photons release 1 O2 molecule. So actually the quantum yield is 12.5% only. Okay, so this is about the quantum yield. Now, as you know that chemiosmotic hypothesis. So chemiosmotic hypothesis, across the thylakoid membrane it is created. So what happened here? In the thylakoid, continuously photolysis of water occurs. As a result, proton gradient increases. Whereas in the stroma, enzymatic reactions occur. So continuously NADP H2 is synthesized, or H2 is used for the reduction of the CO2. So in the stroma, proton concentration decreases. So in thylakoid, proton concentration increases. So outside of the thylakoid in the stroma, proton concentration decreases. Fine. So as a result here what happened? That proton gradient is created across the thylakoid membrane. So here what happened? Some proton carrier channels are also present in the thylakoid membrane. So with the help of that proton channels, few protons are moved from the stroma to the thylakoid to create the much more proton gradient. And now here you know that on the thylakoid membrane F0 particle is there, and outside of the F0 particle F1 particle is there. So F0 and F1 particles are the types of the ATPase enzyme, but ATPase enzyme it is located nearer to the F1 particle. So to break the proton gradient, protons are moved from the thylakoid towards the stroma. So along with that, electrons are also moved. So nearer to the F1 particle, with the help of the ATPase enzyme, ATP is synthesized there. So this is known as chemiosmotic hypothesis. Now, the dark reactions. As you know, that when does ATP and NADPH2 are used. So light reactions are over, and at the end of the light reactions we obtain the ATP as well as NADPH2. So this ATP and NADPH2 are used in the dark reactions. So dark reactions are also known as Lackman's reactions also known as biosynthetic phase, also known as photochemical reactions. As you know that I have given the few statements in the NCERT lecture. Dark reactions are light independent reactions. There is no any requirement of the light energy here, but the dark reactions require the light reaction products. Yes, without the light reactions, dark reaction cannot occur. But here in the dark reaction, light is not essential, but indirectly light is essential for the light reactions. Dark reactions cannot occur in the dark. It occurs during daytime only. Fine. Dark reaction cannot occur without the light. But indirectly it is required there, because for the dark reactions products are essential. Fine. And as you know that on the chlorella alkene, oxygen 18 radioisotope is used there, and when the carbon dioxide is coming in contact with the RuPP sugar, so RuPP is now bind with the carbon dioxide, and as a result the first stable product which is formed in the chlorella, that is PGA, phosphoglyceric acid. So due to the formation of the phosphoglyceric acid in the carboxylation phase, so first stable product is PGA. That's why it is known as C3 cycle. Whereas other scientists perform the experiment on the other organisms also. So when carbon dioxide is coming in contact with the pair, so instead of the 3 carbon PGA, OAA is obtained, oxaloacetic acid. So here the first stable product is oxaloacetic acid, and it is of the 4 carbon. That's why C4 cycle was invented. So here in dark reactions, C3 cycle, C4 cycle, fine, and the wasteful process, photorespiration, we have to understand it properly. Now, the Kelvin cycle. So here the Kelvin cycle, it is also known as C3 cycle. The two co-workers of the Kelvin, known as Benson and Basam, that's why this cycle is known as Benson cycle, Basam cycle. It is also known as PCR reaction. PCR means pentose sugar carboxylation reduction phase. Pentose sugar carboxylation reduction phase. Fine. Then it is same, also known as biosynthetic phase or photochemical reaction, Lackman's reaction. Kelvin cycle occurs in dicot plants, all the plants. Kelvin cycle occurs in all the photosynthetic plants. Either it is monocot or dicot, whatever. But in dicot plant, Kelvin cycle occurs in the mesophyll cell. Whereas in the monocot plant, the Kelvin cycle occurs in the bundle sheath cells, as you know. So in Kelvin cycle, 3 phases are there. First phase is known as carboxylation phase. Second is reduction phase, and third is regeneration phase. So in carboxylation phase, what happened here? the RUBP sugar. RUBP sugar is also known as carboxy dismutase. Ribulose biphosphate. It is also known as carboxy dismutase. Why? You know that Rubisco, the full form of Rubisco is ribulose biphosphate carboxylase oxygenase. So here it is the most abundant enzyme on the earth or most abundant protein in the plants. But according to the light intensity, RUBP is normally undergoes the carboxylation or it undergoes in the photorespiration, that is decided by the light intensity can emit on it. So if optimum light intensity is there, so in the optimum light intensity RUBP binds with CO2 and at that time RUBP carboxylase is activated. So as you know that here in the carboxylation phase, ribulose biphosphate RUBP sugar binds with the CO2 and form 6 carbon unstable product. 6 carbon unstable product. So the name of it is 6C unstable product in carboxylation phase is 2-carboxy 3-keto 1,5-biphosphorabinitol. Fine. So now this 2-carboxy 3-keto 1,5-biphosphoraminidol 6 carbon unstable product, it undergoes the divisional phase and then form the 2 molecules of the PGA. Now when high intensity of the light, so optimum intensity of the light is emitted on the RUBP, then this will happen. Now when the light intensity is higher, so here RUBP is bind with the oxygen. So here from the Rubisco, RUBP oxygenase is activated and photorespiration starts. Fine. magnesium and red light. These are very, very essential for activation of the UV scope. So now you know that in the reduction phase, two PGA molecules are generated. So now in the reduction phase, with the help of the two NADPH2 and two ATPs. See, in carboxylation phase, no ATP, no NADPH2 are used. Whereas in the reduction phase, two NADP and two NADPH2 and two ATPs are used. So with the help of the two ATPs, two NADPH2 molecules are converted into two NADP. As a result, the 2 moles of the protons can now enter into the 2 molecules of the PGA. So 2 molecules of the PGA are converted into 2 molecules of PGAL. Now these 2 molecules of the PGA undergoes the regeneration phase, and here no NADPH2 are used, but one ATP is used. So the summary is that to fix the one molecule of carbon dioxide in the Calvin cycle, to fix the one molecule of the carbon dioxide in the Calvin cycle, 2 NADPH2 and 3 ATPs are used. So 2 NADPH2 and 2 ATPs are used in the reduction phase, and 1 ATP is used in the regeneration phase. In this way, 2 NADPH2 and 3 ATPs are used there. As you know, that for the formation of the one molecule of glucose, 6 Kelvin cycles are required. So 6 Kelvin cycle, in that 6 RuBp binds to 6 CO2, and 6 molecules of 6 carbon unstable product is generated. Now, this 6 molecule of 6 carbon unstable product, it is now converted into 12 molecules of PGA. With the help of the 12 NADPH2 and 12 ATPs, 12 PGA are converted into 12 PGAL. Now, dear all students, as you know that here 12 PGAL molecules are split into 2 parts, 10 PGAL and 2 PGAL. 2 PGAL out of that. Okay, first let me clear this. These 2 PGAL molecules undergo reverse glycolysis process. So here what happened, as you know, that out of the 2 PGAL, 1 PGAL is now converted into its isomer, that is DHAP. So PGAL and DHAP both are joined together and form fructose 1,6-biphosphate. Then it is dephosphorylated and converted into fructose 6-phosphate. Then isomerism occurs. So fructose 6-phosphate converted into glucose 6-phosphate, and dephosphorylation occurs, and then glucose 6-phosphate is converted into glucose. So in this way, with the help of the 6-10 Kelvin cycle, glucose molecule is synthesized there. Now, as you know, that for the formation of the one molecule of glucose, 6-10 Kelvin cycles are required. So in NCERT lecture we have learned with this that 6 times cyclic photophosphorylation, 6 times non-cyclic photophosphorylation, and 6 times photolysis of water occurs. Okay, so 6 times cyclic photophosphorylation In that we obtain the 12 ATPs, 6 times non-cyclic photophosphorylation process. In that we obtain the 6 ATPs and 12 NADPH2. But here, as you know, that here for 6 times non-cyclic photophosphorylation, 6 times this reaction occurs nearer to the pH2. And with the help of the 6 molecules of CO2, 6 molecules of O2 are involved here. So these are the 2 MCQs, very important. So to release the 1 mole of the oxygen, 8 quanta are required and 1 quanta has 12.5% efficiency, that is known as quantum yield. So this is about the Calvin cycle. Now C4 cycle, photorespiration and the factors affecting photosynthesis. We will take it in the next lecture.